On the island of Jamaica, a long, long time ago, on Rosa Plantation, where the ocean breeze blow, lived a girl named Annie Palmer, the mistress of this place. Slaves living fair to see the frowns on Annie's face. Where are your husbands, Annie? 1, 2, and 3. What is looking beneath the palm trees? Once again, welcome to the Rosa Great House. What you're looking at this morning is a mansion. Sugarcane plantation. It was had 6,600 acres with over 2,000 slaves that was working on it. This house began 1750, completed 1780. So it took 30 years for this house to finish. Started by George Ash, a wealthy English planter, who named it after his wife Rose, hence the name Rose Hall. George Ash died 2 years later, but Rose remarried 3 other times. It was her last husband, the Honorable John Palmer, who had completed this house. When the both died, they had no children. This house then built to his grandnephew John Rose Palmer, who later met and married Annie Mae Patterson in 1820. She then became the second and the last mistress, so-called White Witch of Rose Hall. Throughout this house, all the woodwork are made from Jamaican mahogany. Furnishings, genuine 17th, 18th, and early 19th century pieces. Fabric is on the walls, not wallpaper. They're silk fabric. Changes 5 to 10 years caused by humidity here in Jamaica. This part of the room that you're in is called the ballroom. The Palmers are socializers were the friends. Down to 17th and 18th century chamber music, no reggae or Bob Marley back then. Rooms are enhanced with candle lights, lightings are converted into electricity. Original chandelier, 18th century piece made from French gold, the ray. The grandfather clock behind this Christmas tree was donated to this house by the late famous country western singer Johnny Cash. Johnny Cash once had a great house 5 minutes drive away from here in Cinnamon Hill. Johnny Cash and the present owners, who are the Rollins, were close friends. Johnny Cash was also a resident in Jamaica for 40 years. Alright, so when you're through to the library, first and good mistress, Rose Hall was named after her, having 4 husbands, all of whom died naturally. Unlike Annie, she had murdered all 3 of hers. We have no portraits of Annie. The night she died, slaves burned all her personal belongings. They did not like Annie for her cruelty. Annie Mae Patterson was born in England, 1802, English mother, Irish father. The parents were interested in trading. They moved to Haiti with Annie when she was 10 years old. A year later, her parents contracted yellow fever virus and died. The nanny adopted Annie, taught her everything she knew in witchcraft. She was a voodoo priestess. When Annie reached the age of 18, the nanny passed away. Annie came here to Jamaica searching for a wealthy husband, met and married John Rose Palmer. Slaves gave her the name White Witch because she was wicked. 11 years Annie lived in this house. 9 years later, Annie murdered all 3 husbands and countless slave lovers. Annie was killed in December 1831 by Taku, her freed slave lover. He was a voodoo priest. Annie was in love with her new bookkeeper Robert Rutherford from England. Robert was not in love with Annie. He was in love with Millicent, his housekeeper, Taku's granddaughter. Annie found out. She became jealous, cast a scratching spell on Millicent, where the flesh peels away from the bones. Within 1 week, Millicent died. Taku then seek revenge for his only granddaughter, went into Annie's bedroom, made love to Annie, then strangled her to death. Ashmon, the general overseer, he too was also one of Annie's lovers. He seek revenge for Annie. It is called a love triangle. He went after Taku into the hills and shot him. So Annie died at age 29. She was only 4 feet, 11 inches tall. They said big dynamites come in small packages. Annie was a great example. Going on to Hyatt Hotel, there's a place called Palmyra, now called Jewel Grand. There are 3 palm trees there to represent the husbands. Here we have a 1765 century mahogany cane chair. Unfolded, it becomes a library steps to reach high shelves for books and records. The average height of people back then were 5 feet 2 inches tall. There were short people back in those days, but still is. So from here, when you're through, you can go straight across in the dining room.
I'm scared. Are you scared? Ooh.
Welcome to the main dining room. This was where the Palmers would dine when their guests in the house. In the center is a 4-piece pedestal Sheraton banquet table, chairs, ribbon chimpendale. Directly across, a piece mahogany break front with 18th century trade Chinese dishes on display. Someone took picture of the chandelier, image of a bat appeared in it. Next, on this side of the wall, we have an original portrait King Louis XVI of France. He was beheaded in the Revolution War. The French governed in Haiti, and it coming to Jamaica, she brought it with her. Sheraton sideboard table, Sheraton knife box, once closed, locked to the key, so the tiny holes, dinner knives, would place in it. So from here went through, lower gallery. No one knows who they are. It's an original portrait. It is made in the early 18th century. Neither Annie nor Rose had children. Psychics believe the girl in red could be Annie. Her favorite color was red. If you walk this pathway, you take a look at the girl in red. You'll notice her head and eyes turns along with you. So go ahead, give it a try, see how much the girl in red likes you enough to come with you. The time you both leave here and you see the girl in red, you just tell her, we're passing through. We're passing through.
We're passing.
It's a very good attitude. Now look at the picture here. This is the house that you're in now. Palmers would dine when there are no guests to the house. Table at the white, chairs early Queen Anne. Look to your right. A mahogany Welsh dresser. Those are pewter pieces on display. Pewters made from tin and lead. Eating and drinking from pewters could lead to brain poisoning. Believe that one could have made Annie a little bit crazy. If you can, take up the wooden bucket on the floor. Feel the weight of it. It's an original wooden bucket made from wood and copper. It weighs 15 pounds, but doubled when filled with water. I call it muscle builder. It was used by slave children, ages 5 to 10 years old, to carry water in a wooden bucket 1.5 miles away from here.
Wow.
If the water spilled from those slave children, they would get 10 lashes across their back. The wooden bucket was to help building their tiny muscles, preparing them to work in the fields. Babies born disabled were the ones placed out in the sun, left to die. And now we're going into all the rooms where all killings took place. It is not because of the cruelty done here why it's called cruel. The fabric and embroidered or hand-stitched in India. And he strangled her third husband here, having the help of Taku. Said what goes around, comes around. The beds, you'll notice how short they are, were not because of average height of people back then. They sat up or they curled sleeping, believed it was good for their digestive systems. They were considered to be late eaters. They thought lying down they would choke and die. The beds round their 18th century mahogany. Toilets were far away from this house. Look to my right in the corner commode, indoor toilet. Every bedroom would carry one. Once used, servants were made to come up and empty it. They did not arrive on time. They threw it on them. When you're through,
Oh. Whoa, whoa, whoa,
French fabric. This room is one of the coolest rooms, once windy. And he stabbed her second husband here in his sleep numerous times, making sure that he was dead. Hot oil, and he poured into his ears. The brain exploded. Bloodstains could be seen here. Not sure it's there today. These fabric are on the walls. So when you're through, my beautiful people, the red room. Ooh. Welcome to Annie Palmer's bedroom. Red fabric tell passionate need to Annie had for blood. She was hot-blooded and hot-tempered. Annie was strangled in this room by Taku. All the portraits hanging on the walls, the original, still no one knows who they are. A sad face appeared in that headboard when someone took a picture of it. To my left is an original chaise lounge, fainting couch, or day bed. It was not customary for husbands and wives to sleep together. Annie would pretend that she was fainting whenever she needed the attentions of her husbands. Annie blamed deaths of her husbands on yellow fever virus, contagious disease back then. Each time she murdered her husbands, they come and get the bodies, went to the seashore and buried them. On their way coming back, Annie ordered her overseers to meet those slaves, got them beheaded. Shoot covered her tracks. Dead man, tell no tales. When you're through. Now you're in the gentleman's room, the first husband of Annie, whom she had poisoned, pouring arsenic in his coffee. It is called rat poison. After his death, she became the wealthiest plantation owner in this area. Annie lived with the first husband 6 years, second husband 2 years, and third husband 6 months. Different strokes for different folks, calling her men bed warmers. Watch your steps.
This is the dungeon.
This was the dungeon. Jail cells were on either sides. Today elevated, converted, modern days, ladies and gents restrooms safe to use. I did promise to lock you both down here, but you're beautiful people. But I will still leave you by Annie's tomb for you to talk to her. No! This is the bear trap, human trap, original, found on property, no bears in Jamaica for the runaway slaves. Whip, replica, cat o' nine tail or cat, used by overseers on slaves for punishments. Though it would plait in 9, makes it much thicker. Hooks would be at the end, grab the skin of slaves, pull their skin, tear those skins apart. Cat o' nine tail. Ink, not blood. It points to where Annie is buried to the east garden. Yup. She confessed murder on all 3 husbands. left a message saying she's the last mistress that will live in the house. No one had lived there since. The psychics placed 3 crosses on this tomb. One here, one to the next end, one over on this side, but it's faded due to the weather. They wanted was to trap any spirit with a 4th cross. Called her up, she did not answer. This side is left open, and it goes and comes as she pleases. Now I'm gonna sing you both a ballad of Annie Palmer tomb song. The late Johnny Cash written this song for the Great House. This song will end your tour. On the island of Jamaica, a long, long time ago, on Rosa Plantation, where the ocean breeze blow, lived a girl named Annie Palmer, the mistress of this place. Slaves living fair to see the frowns on Annie's face. Where are your husbands, Annie? 1, 2, and 3, all sleeping beneath the palm trees near the Caribbean Sea.